Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. John Kelly, Profiler here, and welcome. Welcome to a case that's been eluding us for many, many years, and we're very focused on now because there's new breaking news. And that is the case of the Long Island serial killer. Jane Doe, number 6, has been identified. Her name is Valerie Mack, a.k.a. Melissa Taylor. Melissa Taylor was her street name. I also have to put out there that everybody's innocent or proven guilty in a court of law. And at this time, I want to talk about convicted serial killer John Bitroloff from Manorville, Long Island. Better known to people over there and his friends as Crazy Johnny B. He knew the area very well. He hunted a lot over there, killed a lot of animals over there in the woods. Very well known. His two victims were Rita Tangretti and Colleen McNamee. Both of them were posed. They were found posed, which means they were found in an altered position. There was a third, Sandra Castillo. She was not put into the mix. He was not charged with her murder. Supposedly, when she was found dead, her body was posed as well in a similar manner to Tangretti and McNamee. So we've got to watch and wait and see what else is going to be revealed here. When you're looking at posing, you're looking at altering the bodies in some way, shape, or fashion, or the crime scene. And most of the time, it's what I call the serial killer's horrific art. That's their work of art. Okay? It's very dark. And it's meant to really shock first responders. Anybody that finds the body is going to be shocked based on what they say. Right now, I want to show you a clip from a piece we did in 2018 on John Bitroloff. And then we're going to get back to the cutting and the staging of the Long Island serial killer. Take a look. The other thing that we always look at, and we look at it with a microscopic eye, we focus on cruelty to animals. And John Bitroloff was actually known to his friends when he was younger as Crazy Johnny B. Now, the reason he was called Crazy Johnny B is because of the way he murdered and mutilated small animals and bigger animals. I'm going from smaller animals to even deer. They said he would kill any deer that he came in contact with. He just liked to kill them. And he just liked to kill animals. In fact, they said he took a pig that he had raised and butchered it with gusto in front of a crowd. So what we have to understand is that with most serial killers, we do see this horrific abuse and torture of animals at a younger age. And Crazy Johnny B is no different here. So we've got the posing, we've got the cruelty and mutilation of animals to a man who eventually is living in Manorville. Now that's important because some of the bodies that were found in Gilgo had torsos over in Manorville. So now we have to really put Johnny B under a microscope, Crazy Johnny B, and really try to look at other ways we can eliminate him from the other murders over at Gilgo. In fact, one of the prosecutors said he's probably a person of interest or a suspect. I think he used the word suspect for at least one of the murders in Gilgo. Now that's interesting to me because, we have a dumping ground here, and, how many serial killers are using the same dumping ground? We've heard there's from 2 to 3 serial killers. That's, the talk that's out there. I don't believe that. I never believed that for a minute. I think the percentages are way against that. Way against there being 2 or 3 serial killers using the same dumping grounds. I've never seen it before. I mean, when you're in profiling and you're doing this kind of work, you have to play the percentages at some point. And looking at this case, I mean, what are the percentages that you're going to have 2 or 3 even serial killers? And I'm including John Bitterloff that's already been convicted of being a serial killer. What are the odds? What are the percentages you're going to have 3 serial killers using the same dumping grounds? Almost impossible, right? We have to really take a look at that if we're going to eliminate people here. We have to really take that into consideration. But then again, percentages against people that play the lottery, and we all know somebody always hits that Powerball sooner or later, and somebody always hits that Mega Millions sooner or later, and bucks the percentages. Now we're going to be talking about staging. Staging is the killer trying to send law enforcement in a different direction and get them off course. And they can stage in many different ways by taking evidence. For instance, a victim's license being found in an airport. Gary Ridgway taking bones, remains, body parts from Washington over the state line into Oregon. I mean, just trying to confuse law enforcement and throw them off. And that's what staging has a lot to do with. And if you take a look here at the Long Island serial killer, you're finding body parts in Manorville, and then you're finding body parts off Ocean Parkway, over by Gilgo Beach. That's definitely, in my mind, some kind of staging. I mean, come on. Why would you have some body parts in Gilgo off Ocean Parkway, but then the torso over in the woods in Manorville? All right, so this is very interesting. Now we get into cutting. Let me tell you, a serial killer that's into cutting is a very different kind of animal. And a lot of them get a lot of pleasure out of it. But at this point in time, we don't know if the Long Island serial killer was into getting pleasure out of cutting, very possibly, or was this really just part of his body disposal ritual? I think he got some pleasure out of it because, not all serial killers, in fact, there's not a high percentage that are into cutting and mutilating bodies. When we take a look back and we look at Valerie Mack's torso that was found in Manorville, that was 2000, okay? So now we fast forward to 2011. Now her head and hands, and I believe her right foot, are found at Gilgo Beach off Ocean Parkway. I really believe with her discovery and being that we were able to identify her, we are going to get much closer to identifying the Long Island serial killer. Because I believe the Long Island serial killer, by cutting them up and disposing of some parts in Manorville and then other parts off the Ocean Parkway, really had some kind of connection to this woman, this poor woman. And by identifying her, I think we have a good shot of identifying him because he went to a lot of trouble. Cutting this up here, cutting that up there, moving this over here, moving that over there. You got to understand, that takes a lot of work, okay? So this guy had a reason. They always have a reason for doing what they're doing. And usually that reason is to make sure they don't get caught, all right? So bottom line is, I think we're getting closer here because he put a lot of effort in trying to make sure that she wouldn't be found, that she wouldn't be identified. That Valerie Mack, a.k.a. Melissa Taylor, would not be identified. Great work by law enforcement by using DNA. Fantastic work. Something else that's interesting, since 2013, when John Bitterloff was being investigated, closer to the end of 2013 when he was being investigated, You know, there doesn't seem to be any more deaths attributed to the Long Island serial killer since then. It seems since he was being investigated in 2013 and they were on to him, that we had no more victims on Long Island. Like I said, he's innocent until proven guilty. But I just thought that's an interesting coincidence. Thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. Can't thank you enough for your subscriptions. Please subscribe. We always love your comments. We always love your information. If you have any information you want to share with us, we'll get it over to authorities. I always tell you to share with them first. But if you don't want it for any reason, let us know. We'll keep it confidential and we'll share it over. We'll send it over to them. Most importantly, please be safe out there. These are rough times. Make it a great day. And thank you so much.